Fueled by C4, Cellucor, and Extend. Use the code Clydesdale to get 20% off at checkout at c4energy.com. On Clydesdale Media, where we bring you the widest array of content here on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notifier so you're first to know when new episodes are available. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm the Clydesdale. We are here to highlight the athletes from the 2023 CrossFit Games semifinals. And with us today, and I hope I get her last name right, it is Maddison Drader.
Yes, not Drader.
Drader.
We've laughed about from a few other people saying drawer, but
okay. Yeah, it seemed pretty straightforward, so I went for it. Sometimes I ask before we come live what the pronunciation is. Sometimes it's fun to mess it up and be corrected. But I'm glad I hit that one out of the park. So there we go.
Knocked it out.
Yeah, I still can't say Freya Mooseburger.
I did see those clips. I'm not great with last names either. So I never if someone gets my name wrong, I laugh it off. I'm not always the best. So
well, and we've become a very heavy Canadian show. I don't know how that's happened. You guys are just so friendly and willing to come on the show. So like of the athletes we're following this season, we have like Sydney Mikulishin, we have Emily Rolfe, we have Carolyn Prevost. Like we are like Canadians everywhere.
Love that. Those are some powerhouse female names. So from Canada, yeah. That's awesome.
Is there a sense of pride in Canada with CrossFitting? You like the Canadian CrossFitting females, especially. Well, even males like are becoming fairly dominant in the sport.
I would say so for sure. We love when a Canadian can rep their own, and we're always excited, especially like from Western Canada. I think like Brent Fikowski, like Emily Rolfe. Yeah, like those are who I'm always
Pat Vellner.
Pat. Yeah. So
yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, and Sydney's even from the Western side.
Is she? Yeah.
Well, my Canadian geography is probably not at an elite level, but Manitoba.
Yeah, that that would be. I guess too. I'm always like, I'm even sometimes pigeonholed in my like of where I am in Canada, right? Because I'm in Alberta, and I just they always think BC and Alberta, but yeah, there's a whole other,
Yeah. So you are so I'm going to start with this. You represented Canada in functional fitness.
I did. Yeah, I got to do that.
So talking about Canadian pride, you got to represent your country. And did you go to Sweden to do that?
I did. I got to go to Malmö, Sweden.
What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was exciting. It was cool, like you said, to represent Canada. It was kind of, I guess, like my first like entry into individual competition in kind of that like higher caliber kind of a piece. So yeah, that was really exciting. I mean, like CrossFit has allowed me to go to some really cool places and experience the world in ways like I never necessarily thought I would. So yeah.
So
cool.
For our listeners, what's the difference between CrossFit and functional fitness?
You know what? That's a great question. I think kind of the idea behind the Functional Fitness Federation is that they have like more standardized events with the goal of eventually going into the Olympics. So they would have kind of parameters set out with like an endurance based, a strength based test, a power output, a gymnastics or body weight, in which they would have to have those tests in every competition. But essentially, like you're still training the same, the events are still very similar. So I would say, like, as far as like the movements and like the tests and stuff, it didn't really vary that much from what you would typically see in a CrossFit competition. But yeah, just
More is known for sure.
pardon. Yes, more is known for sure. Exactly, right? Because you know those tests are coming in those like with those specific parameters. Yeah.
Yeah. With that, you're not sitting there refreshing your phone, waiting for the next two events to drop, right?
Who said I was refreshing my phone?
I've talked to a lot
Just
of athletes. You would have to be one of the outliers if you were not.
yes, definitely was excited for the workouts to get released.
So before we finish up on functional fitness, when you represent Canada, like as a team, do you do all the events or can you specialize?
Yeah, you would do all the events. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like grid league where you can substitute in and out different people and yeah, okay, cool.
No, it was like it's very similar to like an individual CrossFit competition. So representing Canada as an individual, doing all of the events. And then there's also like the team events too, similar to CrossFit.
Okay. So it is I like that because it keeps the well-roundedness in each athlete essential. You can't just be a big, strong person that can clean and forget about the endurance and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, wouldn't it be nice someone sub someone in for my run for me? But
Yeah. Yeah. So you are up there in Canada and you are one of the many, many, many OPT athletes that have made it on to semifinals. We've got to talk to a lot of them. What's it like training with a group that's that good?
um yeah, I mean, you never want to be like, what is it? The big fish in a small pond. um, right? You never want to be like the best person at your gym. So getting to train with other athletes who all have like different abilities or and are better at you in different areas, like say like gymnastics, lifting, running. Like for me, there's someone that's better than me in all of those areas. And so always having someone to kind of like push against or try to like level up to, um yeah, like that's, I would say, like that's priceless, right? And then along with that is there's like that competition side that levels you up, but then there's also like that camaraderie and friendship side, of like these guys are my teammates and they help get me through the hard days or the tough times, right? So yeah, it's amazing. Like honestly, yeah, priceless. I feel like really lucky to be surrounded by such incredible athletes.
So I asked Hannah and I asked Matt about trash talking.
Yeah.
And they say they trash talk with each other when given the opportunity. Do you take part in trash talking or are you just like the nice person that gets along with everybody?
I would be a terrible trash talker. Like I'm not witty enough to come up with some stuff, but I am known to maybe say something out of line here and there that gets misinterpreted a different way, which can, yeah, also honestly be taken as trash talk. Um, if I'm giving anyone a hard time, it would be Matt Brady, right? Because he's kind of the solo guy that we all get to bug a little bit. But yeah.
So you work full time.
I
So
do.
you're doing all this while working full time. And I have to admit, I don't know if you've ever seen this, a show called Parks and Rec here
Yeah.
in the States.
Yeah.
So the minute I was researching you, I was like, oh my gosh, that's her. And so
That's
so you
funny.
are actually over, and I think you actually reverse it, like recreation and park in Alberta.
Yeah.
So what is that job like, and what does it entail?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I actually, within working for Alberta Recreation and Parks Association, I actually work for their health promotion program. So I lean more towards health promotion necessarily than Rex and Park. But I still do love that show. So shout out. That's
Yeah.
so funny. Um, yeah, and what we do within the health promotion side is I like support and work with communities to increase like healthy living in their communities. So I get to support them through like resources, events, educational opportunities, kind of like all sorts of things. So it's hard to kind of put my job into a few words, but overall, it's an incredible job. It's a ton of fun. I'm always learning, doing something new, having my hand in a few different pots, I guess you could say.
So
um,
is it from everything to educate, from education to building up facilities to promote health and fitness?
yeah, so we are kind of like the middleman or middle person where we work um, with those people who then go out and are on the ground doing the work, you could say. Our mandate is more healthy eating, active living. So those are kind of more of what we lean towards. And yeah, we can like I'll work with anyone from in the health and wellness space to like recreation managers to community development. Yeah, all sorts of different things.
So the thing that popped into my head, and this could be totally off base, but I live here in Columbus, Ohio, and we have a CrossFit gym downtown, and right out its back doors is a big metro park, and they have spent, I don't know how much money, to make an obstacle course trail, and there's like a climbing wall, and there's like everything you can imagine to do outdoors for fitness. And then
Mhm.
the CrossFit gym holds competitions there,
Yeah.
like in the middle of that park. Is that something you would see in one of your parks, or you're more in the healthy eating?
Yeah, I definitely actually parks is something we're trying to like get more of a focus on because I would say we do lean more towards like recreation and sometimes like the parks piece falls off a little bit for us. Um, but definitely like figuring out how to get all of the people kind of at the table to make something like that happen is what we would do, right? So how do you get like the parks people and then the CrossFit people and everyone to eventually have a competition in the park like that? So that's kind of yeah, we're like supporting all those people to come together in a way.
Now it's making sense to
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah, just kind of like in the business world. Like I used to have a job where I was the middle person between the tech team and the business user. Like, and I had to translate everything between the two groups.
yeah, exactly. Like we're just like really that support piece, kind of for everyone and exactly.
So with this being your job, do you like being outside?
Yeah, for sure. I love being outside. I mean, CrossFit and like training. So having a full-time job and then training as much as I do to compete takes up a lot of time. So I do have some friends who like they love I'm thinking of one friend in particular. She's always giving me a hard time because she's like, let's go for a hike, let's go biking, let's do this. And I'm like, well, I just got done my 3-hour session. I need to rest and recover. However, like I do love, yeah, being outside, doing all of those things. And I see myself when I'm done CrossFit, not done CrossFit, but when I see myself done not competing as much as I am or putting as much time in, spending more time like doing those types of outdoorsy things.
Okay. Yeah, is that a way you still have to decompress, right? Like working full time and training full time, you need those moments where you just kind of get away.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is being outside that for you, or is it something else?
Yep, for sure. Yeah, fair enough. I guess I was thinking outside is like going on these like adventures, but definitely I just love being outside in general, for sure.
And you're a dog lover?
Yes. Yeah, I have a dog named Zoe. She's turning 3 on May 20th. So yeah, she's amazing. I wasn't a huge dog person before we got her. Me and my partner Ryan got her, but after getting her, I'm like obsessed.
That was my wife. My
Yeah,
wife was not a dog person. We got a dog, and now nobody can touch the dog the right way. My wife is so overprotective.
yeah. I It's really funny. My partner's always giving me a hard time. Um, but I just love her so much, and I really can't imagine life without a dog. Cause yeah, like that going outside piece, like yeah, taking her for walks, it's like such a perfect way to get outside.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that totally. So, you grew up as a multi-sport athlete, I read, in high school. So, what is that athletic background of yours?
Yeah. So I actually grew up on a ranch, a cattle ranch. So I grew up barrel racing and going to rodeos and horseback riding. And then I played like a few different sports, like say in junior high. Um, like I played baseball or softball, um, basketball, like volleyball and badminton, but nothing high level, like very much just for fun. And then in high school, I only played basketball. Again, like not at a like I wouldn't consider it a high level. Like I maybe practiced a few times a week, had a few games a few times a week. Absolutely loved the sport, but from playing basketball and barrel racing, I don't think I ever like necessarily considered myself like a multi-sport athlete in that kind of a way.
Okay. So, how did CrossFit fall in your lap?
Yeah. So I spent a few years after high school just having the time of my life. No, I kind of got into like, not got into, I just, partying, kind of, yeah, not taking, not playing sports anymore, right? You're in high school playing sports and then you stop high school and there's nothing really you're doing anymore. And so it was really just kind of missing that like active piece. So I kind of not stumbled actually. A close friend of mine had told me about CrossFit for a couple years and I kind of kept like brushing it off. And yeah, eventually one day I was like, okay, I need to like get my shit together essentially and get back into like some active living, whatever. And I joined a little CrossFit gym in Brooks, and then the rest is history.
You've been doing the open for a long time.
Yeah.
Like you signed up in 2015. So that's a long time ago. You actually went to regionals on a team.
Yeah. So when I started CrossFit, I always tell people like I was so out of shape and had really no strength or endurance background other than like what I had like playing basketball and basketball practices. So when I started, um, like I could barely jump onto like I think the 14-inch box was like a big deal. Like I used the black bands for like pull-ups, like the thick black bands. Like
Been there.
I used like the 15-pound barbell. Um, yeah, so I like literally was starting from like ground zero. So yeah, I started in 2015. I was doing like the open, but it was never really with like this thought of like, okay, one day I'm going to compete. So it was kind of like a few years down the road that I was like, okay, maybe now I want to like try to compete. And then that's when I started taking things a little bit more seriously. And then I had started with my coach at Optimum Performance Training in 2017. And that's when things like really changed for me.
And who is your coach there?
Michael Fitzgerald.
Okay. So in 17, is that when the switch flipped and you said, I could be good at this and maybe I should try to compete?
Yeah, I think it was like exactly. It was like I I always wanted I was in class doing classes and I always wanted a little bit more. I'm like I want to get better at gymnastics. I want to get better at this, right? And the class programming was just maybe like it wasn't enough for what I really needed to get better at. And so that's when I like searched out the individualized programming, and found, yeah, exactly, found Michael, started doing that programming, which was like night and day different for me. I don't think I always make a joke. I'm like, I don't think I had done a workout longer than 10 minutes prior to starting with him. So exactly, like I started with him and it was definitely with like the aspirations of like I wanted to go to regionals. So when I did start with him, I had already had that like goal. I started and I was like, that was kind of my sit down goal with him.
And then you went on a team in 2018 and
Yeah.
you got to compete at regionals. What was that experience like?
Yeah. So that was kind of a crazy year because it was the year that the Canada West went from having 20 qualifying individual spots to only 5. And so I came in like 21st or 22nd. So potentially, and I didn't like redo any of the workouts or do it as if, right? Because I knew I wasn't going to get top 5. Um, but it was just like, it was kind of like that, oh, dang year, because if they would have still had the 20, like there potentially could have been the potential that happened. Um, and then without even like really trying, I shouldn't say trying, without the thought that we might have a team, it worked out that there was enough of us that did well enough at OPT that we were able to send a team. So in a way, it was like I still kind of got to, do my goal of going to regionals, but not in maybe like the same capacity as I wanted as an individual. But it was still like, it was really exciting. It was so much fun.
So then you have this goal of going to regionals and they take them away.
I know. What the heck?
And I noticed on the leaderboard, like you're open, you stop doing the open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you that upset that regionals went away that you're like, I'm done?
No. Sorry. I just like have had kind of a wild, I don't want to say wild, kind of just like my journey has been up and down to get to this point. So after the regionals, yeah, we didn't like, no one knew what was happening in 2019. Like, no one knew. And I was like, I think I just needed some time off anyways, because I think in 2019, the open was in like November.
It was both in 2019.
Like,
We had the spring one and then the games and then another open right after it
yeah.
with this full sanctional season. And then a quarter into the sanctional season, COVID hits.
Yeah, yeah. And so I actually got to compete in 2019. Like, that's when I did the international functional fitness. So that was kind of the change for me. So I got to do that, which was really exciting. And in a way, it felt kind of like regionals, kind of like doing that. And then in 2020, I did qualify for a sanctional. So again, I mean, I kind of made my dream of going to regionals a thing, but not actually. Right? So you can kind of keep seeing how like I'm so close, but not there, because yeah, I qualified for that sanctional, but it ended up not happening in 2020 because of COVID.
Right.
So
So then you jump back in 22 and 23
yeah,
and that's when things get a little crazy because 23 you said you almost were making it, but in 23 you were just outside like the cut line.
yeah.
So what was it like waiting to see how many backfill spots there were, and were you going to get the invite?
Um, it actually like makes me emotional to talk about it. It's funny, I wasn't expecting that. Um, yeah, it was like devastating, honestly. Like, um, I didn't know what was gonna happen. Me and my coach both didn't know, because I had actually had such like poor training leading up to it. Like, my training just wasn't great. My numbers weren't great. Like, I wasn't performing in a way that we know that I have before and I could. So when we went into quarterfinals, it was really just like a effort over everything, and give it all we got, and hopefully I land on the right side. And I unfortunately didn't. Yeah, I was 65th, and as people know, you needed to be top 60. So I was heartbroken. I had, especially like, as you can see over the years, I've had all those like close calls. But then as the days kind of shook out, we realized that there's some people going team. Um, I got bumped up a spot because of some, I guess, leaderboard adjustments. At one point I was in 61st, and then I know it was crazy. I was like in 61st, 63rd. So yeah, that's a really long way of saying that it was
So
an emotional time.
we opened up this show about refreshing your phone about workouts. How often did you refresh your phone with the leaderboard
Okay,
waiting to see?
so the workout thing, it's like, yeah, maybe I've refreshed my phone like a few times. the leaderboard, it literally was every like minute. I could not concentrate at work. I was, yeah, and people were also like, people are so supportive of me. So of course they're messaging me too, right? They're like, oh, you moved into 62nd. Oh, like, I think you're gonna make it. I found some people that are going team, so I think you're gonna make it. And like, yeah, it was a lot.
So you have the low of being just outside, and then at some point you get the email from CrossFit saying
Yeah.
you're getting a backfill position.
Yeah.
How high did that high go?
Well, like, yeah, it sounds cheesy, like sometimes because I'm like putting so much into going to semifinals. It's, you know,
It's
a
a
lot.
huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
Like people, like you are one of 300 people in the world that got an invite.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, because um yeah, the high I felt when I finally got the invitation was something I've been chasing for a very long time. So I would say like nothing, yeah, nothing could like necessarily really compare. Like it was just like the best feeling in the world. I FaceTime my friends. I it was like 9 p.m. on a
So
Friday.
I hope this is not hyperbole, but in your life thus far, was that the biggest moment in your life thus far?
Yeah, I would say one from like athletic or like right like sports related moment 100%. I mean, apart from that, yeah, even it might even just be in life because of how much time, effort, energy, years have gone into this.
Well, and I say up till this point because you have a
Yeah.
lot of life to live
Yeah.
where big moments could be coming, right?
Yeah.
And I understand that this is just an athletic event, but you're not to the point where some of the bigger things that come in life. So I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
giving you up till this point.
I think that that's honestly a fair thing to say. Because again, when I think about like how much has gone into this, I'm I'm always like a very honest person, and like I won't downplay like how much time, effort, it's even taken me to get to semifinals. Like it's huge. So
So I want to see, you said coming into quarters, you weren't having the best training. You've now had some time from quarters to semis. 2 years ago, I'm just going to point this out. Bailey Rail was a backfill to semifinals and made it to the games and made it in top 20. Right. So there are stories where people have taken a backfill position a long way after this point. So one, how has your training been since quarters? Are we on an uptick?
yeah, definitely we're on an uptick. The most like stressful part or time of year for my job is from December to March because um, I plan an event for about 150 people, a 3-day event, a conference actually. And so I literally held that conference the week before quarterfinals, where like I don't get to stay in my own bed, have my own routine, workout, etc. Right? I'm very much like on work mode, working like 14 to 16-hour days, along with like all the overtime worked leading up to that. So it's just like my career and training like don't really align that great at that time, which is why my training was kind of a train wreck leading into quarters. But after that, my workload is like decreased a ton, the stress from work, right? The event's over. So I really get to put that focus back into training, and it's just been amazing. It's been, I mean, I've accomplished my goal, and everything else from here is just like, let's go, let's have fun, let's enjoy training, let's just give it all I have with like not a lot of pressure.
So I'm glad you explained that, because it's good that it wasn't from like an injury or just overall fatigue or something like that. Like, you had another commitment, another priority that kind of took time away.
Yeah, but I would also say the way I handled the stress from work definitely like led to a lot of fatigue around training, and me just not being able to like express maybe my full fitness within training kind of leading up.
So
So
I'm gonna ask a life coach question now.
yeah.
Semifinals, regionals has been your goal for a very long time. How much added stress to the work stress do you put on that weekend to make it to that goal?
I mean, yeah, it's a huge weekend. I think about it. I've thought about it from the moment it ended in 2022 to 2023. Like, I think that that's what I think about every single time I step into the gym. Um, yeah, it's huge.
So now this huge boulder has been lifted off your shoulders because uh, you have reached the goal. And like you said, now it's all gravy, right? Now you're in bonus time,
Literally.
where anything that happens at this point is just icing on the cake. And I think I've used every cliche now,
I love it.
and and that you can just go have fun and let loose, and who knows what that means.
Exactly. And honestly, I think I compete the best when that is like when I am having fun and I'm enjoying it. And that doesn't mean that I'm not still taking it seriously and there's not still like 100% effort, because effort is something that I prioritize over everything. But yeah, like the mix of like having so much fun and with that weight off my back, um, it just it it makes this experience like so great.
So I was going through your Instagram today,
Mhm.
and one thing that I noticed is you smile as much as anybody I've ever seen in my life.
I do
And
smell a lot.
there is um there is one video I'm trying to find. I thought I had it up and now it's not there. Um Shoot. You are cleaning. Where's it? I think this is it. Here we go. Okay. Can I pause? No, I can't pause. All right. I'm going to share my screen so it's up for everybody. But what I love about this, and I'm going to wait till your celebration is over. Okay. So, well, there's part of
Oh,
the celebration. So, the 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 bounce hop dance thing that you do at the end of this, you watch this and you can't help but smile. And you're just everybody's jumping. Everybody's jumping.
yeah. So that is kind of like goes back to me talking about how like leading up to quarterfinals, like my training had just been like so hard. Like I had just been going through such a low. And this is actually the CrossFit gym I coach at, CrossFit, Bedrock CrossFit. And the owner, her name's Amanda Tausgo. And she had an idea of how like what I had been going through. And so I hit that PR, and like I just couldn't believe it. She knew what I had gone through. And so yeah, it just, the reaction of like jumping up and down, just it happened. Like it was like an out of body experience. We just like couldn't control ourselves. Like, yeah.
And like every picture I looked at, you have this smile on your face.
Yeah.
One, whoever took this picture needs an award. It is my daughter just graduated with her photography degree, and I look at a lot of pictures. This thing is epic.
Yeah.
The shadows and the shading on this are perfect. But yeah, you always look this happy. Is the gym your happy place?
Yeah, the gym like honestly changed my life. Like I said, after high school, I was kind of like going down maybe like a rough path. I don't speak on it a ton, but like I've definitely dealt with depression a lot in my life, and um like the gym is ultimately what saves me from that for sure. So
I have been there.
yeah, I think lots of people
So
have. So it,
yeah, it's just there's something about the community in a CrossFit gym that help lift you up when you need it most. And
the
now I'm going to tear up.
community, yeah, the community is
You know,
unmatched. It's like the community in itself has like saved me so many times. They've given me a place where I feel like I can be authentic, I can be myself, right? Like that's so cool. Um,
the best thing about a CrossFit gym is whether you're lifting an empty barbell or you're lifting 250 pounds, you fit in,
yeah, yeah,
right?
exactly. That's
Whether you're using the thick black band to do a pull up or you're
yes,
doing butterfly pull ups, everybody fits in
yeah,
because everybody's
exactly.
working just as hard.
Yeah, that's the piece I love is when you like stop and just take a breath and look around in the CrossFit gym and you just know like we're all, I know some people don't like to use this word, but like suffering together. You know, we're all putting in time and work together, and it doesn't matter what level you're at. Um, like everybody's working hard, and it's so cool.
When you don't experience the suffering, you can't appreciate the good times, right?
Honestly, it
You have to know both sides of the pendulum.
yeah,
You have to.
yeah. There's like this quote, something like, you know, my darkest my darkest moments like have led me to, right, my highest highs or whatever. And I'm like, it's so true. Like I think maybe that is why like in those pictures when you see me smiling or like so happy, it's like when I'm on like those high moments, it's like I'm just taking them in. I'm so thankful for them.
Well, I could keep talking to you all afternoon, but I want to respect your time. I didn't even get to backpacking across Europe,
Oh
all
yeah,
of this
that
stuff.
was
So I may have to have you back
yeah, I definitely frolicked around Europe for a good few months.
because I would love to hear that story. So we've got to have you back at some point.
Yeah.
Um, so I will put that in my notebook to do that, and I will be in Pasadena. So
Yay,
I will
awesome.
be there cheering you on. But what I want to encourage you is just like you do every day in the gym and you smile and you soak it all in, you made it.
Thanks.
This
Yay.
weekend is for you. This weekend in Pasadena is for you to just soak it all in.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm gonna go walk on the com floor. I was making a joke. I was like, I'm just gonna walk out on the com floor and just give a wave, a smile. Like I've made it. But yeah, no,
Well,
I
rumor
appreciate
is these North American semis are sold out. So it's going to be a packed house.
Are they
This is
actually?
your rock. This is your rock show,
Literally. I
right?
better start yeah, preparing myself for that because
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And just enjoy every second of it
thank
because
you.
you made it.
Thank you.
Well, with that, we're going to let a Maddison go. And thank you so much to everybody who's been listening. And we'll see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast.